Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes from February 17th, 2021?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
I will take a motion to approve, or unless somebody has comments.
No comments. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion by Zach, a second by Ragnar to approve the minutes from February 17th, 2021. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. So I guess before we did that, do we have, so we got Zach, we got Carla, we got Ragnar, you got me. Is Adam not on tonight?
No.
Okay, and C Zellers, that's
It's Casey
with the
from
fire department.
Boardman
oh, okay.
Fire,
Okay.
and Marty from the fire department, and Ron McGinnis on behalf of the chaparral. And
was gonna
we
say, you didn't-
suspect the phone number is somebody from Idaho for one of the others.
Okay. I was gonna say Ron didn't look like Junior Drago, but it says Junior Drago on it.
It is Ron.
All right, well, Barry, do you want to get started on old business? Looks like we've got an update to the Bailey Park subdivision update.
Yes, Bailey Park is, they've got the utilities are in, they haven't got street lights and stuff like that up yet. They're planning on paving the 8th and 9th of April. So they're finishing up some of the final grading work and things like that, getting ready for that. And they're planning on having 3 units in the park by the 1st of May. So they're going to be in a rush to get it done. And that's about all I've got on the update.
I guess maybe what's the update on what's the street that's closed down there because of the Head Start building going in?
That's southwest Willow Fork. And it's between the intersections of Willow Fork and South Main and Willow Fork and South Tatone. And we will have 3 more units coming in tomorrow, 3 more on Monday, and the crane shows up on Monday and they start lifting them over onto the foundations. And that'd be the 24th, I think, is the date. 24th or 25th is the day that they're, 24th is the day they're going to lift them on. So the street will be done, opened on the 24th at the end of the day.
Okay. Well, if there's no questions, we'll move into new business. So I guess we can jump right in with your, looks like we've got a A1 hospitality type 2 partition request, Barry. We're not going to have an action on that, are we? Is that just a notification?
No, it's a type 2 decision. But because it was on Main Street, I wanted to, before a notice of decision goes out on it, I wanted the planning commission to hear it. It's a 1 acre off of the rather large parcel that the fire department is getting. What's planned to go in there is a Dollar General store. But I wanted you guys to know they're going to share access with the old Mountain Valley Land Building where the pharmacy is now. And so that's, they're waiting for this. So the properties, the fire department has contacted me A1 Hospitality's contacted me, Dollar General's contacted me. They're waiting for this to get the property transactions done. So, but I wanted to run it by the Planning Commission to see if they had any questions or concerns.
We
How many-
actually have it advertised as a hearing.
So we don't necessarily have to have a hearing though, do we, Jackie?
We did not have to have a hearing, but Barry would like to have a hearing before the Planning Commission on it for the reasons that he stated. And we did advertise it as such and mailed out letters to all adjacent property owners announcing a hearing.
And we've had no comments on it other than proponents of it to get it done so the property transactions for the fire department and Dollar General can be closed.
Okay. Well, we can go,
The reason it says on the application, January 27th, that's when they filled it out. We didn't get it until the 1st of February. And that didn't allow enough time to be able to bring it to the February Planning Commission meeting.
okay. Well, Barry, we can go through a public hearing if you'd like. I mean,
Well,
I would,
Jackie, can you put up a screen share of 9?
We're gonna test Jackie's screen sharing abilities. Nope,
I just didn't, I
that's
don't see
not
it. We don't have a staff report in here for it, do we, Barry?
No, the staff report, it's actually a type 2 decision.
Yeah,
It was
that's why-
notified, everybody was notified. But because it was on Main Street, I felt it was appropriate to come before the Planning Commission just to let you all know. And the fire department will own the majority of it. This is just a 1 acre parcel.
Okay. I don't
That
see any
is-
opponents or proponents here. Is there any other commissioners that feel a hearing's necessary? Because I'd rather just do a notification and let Barry make the decision as per ordinance and statute as a type 2 decision. Unless
And-
anybody has any reservations about that.
I don't.
No, that sounds reasonable. I'm good with that.
Okay. I guess just a couple questions I had, Barry, was 1 acre for that. I'm assuming it's a pretty good sized building. How many square feet's the building they're planning on putting in there?
I can't remember. It's not, it's.
And the
I-
reason for my question is just to ensure there's adequate parking for, a building like that. Seems like 1 acre would be pretty tight, but if it works, it works.
It's not going, they've actually got quite a few parking spots. On what they've shown me, and I don't have the square footage in front of me right now,
Okay.
but it's not very big.
Okay. Any other questions or can we move on? I think you've got support from the Planning Commission, Barry, to make the decision you need
Okay.
to make on that.
Okay, Jackie, you can take that down then.
right.
And I will put together the notice of decision tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you, Barry.
You ready to go to Chaparral Park?
Yeah, so next item on the agenda, I'm scrolling through this. I don't have a paper copy in front of me, so. Looks like we've got type 3 hearing for Chaparral Park. Let me write this down. All right. So I'd like to commence a hearing for the Chaparral Park subdivision application. It looks like it's a subdivision for tax lot 100 on 4 North 25 East 7, section 17 of the 17-acre parcel. I guess it's lot 100, tax lot 28. I don't think I need, looks like we've got all of our commissioners have been through public hearing process. So I don't need to summarize the rules. Do we have any abstentions? Any objections to jurisdiction? Doesn't sound like it. Barry, you want to take us through the staff report?
Sure. On February 8th of 2021, an application was received for Chaparral Park Phase 2 from Ron McInnes, acting as the agent for Gary and Carol Mon, the owners of the property. This subdivision will consist of 28 lots on tax lot number 100 of Morrow County Tax Map 4 North, 25 East, section 17. The parent lot is 20.13 acres in size. Phase 2 in the submitted application consists of 28 single-family residential lots. The preliminary plat holds true to the master plan of the previous developers. The master plan can be seen, or can be seen in the preliminary plat, and the additional lots which were not part of this phase of the development. The total area of the phase is 7.46 acres, with 2.30 acres being dedicated to rights of way and 6 acres committed to residential lots. The average lot size is 8,033.85 square feet, with the largest lot being 8,729 square feet, and the smallest lot being 8,001 square foot. There is one knuckle turn within the submitted layout. The knuckle turn has a radius of 50 feet, which is in accordance with the city standards. The street layout connects Failer Road with the existing Mount Adams and with a full intersection, and Chaparral Drive with a 3-sided intersection, meaning there's no cross, just a T intersection. Civil engineering has not been completed at this time and will follow after the approval of the preliminary plat. Once civil drawings are available, the site team will be needed to assure utilities and other agencies criteria are met prior to approval of the final plat and construction. The findings application from the Mons was received on February 8, 2021. Public notice for a planning commission hearing on February 23 was posted on the property and mailed to property owners within 250 feet on February 23. Public notice for planning commission hearing on February 23 was published in the East Oregonian on February 23. The city has received no comments on this proposal. Summary and conclusions: the commission should condition the approval of this preliminary plat with a required site team meeting to assure utility plans are appropriate to service the subdivision. This preliminary plat for Chaparral Park Phase 2 appears to meet the criteria for approval, with the exception of Gene Allen Drive. The city has an existing Allen Court on the other side of town. Another name for this street should be pursued to prevent confusion. Any questions?
I got a question, Barry, that the total number of lots for that should be like 66.
I'm just on the phase that there's about that many more lots left. But on what it showed on the application was 28.
The intention was for all 66, and I paid the appropriate fee for all 66.
Well, that had changed the facts because I thought you were only doing the 28. If you're doing the 66, that'll take it all the way basically to the BPA easement.
Correct.
But
All right, so
the
I
same
guess-
will hold true. That at some point, Oregon Trail Boulevard will also tie into Failer right there along the BPA easement.
Also correct.
Okay, and just glancing at the rest of the lots, Barry, if we're gonna consider the 66 rather than 28 for tonight, I don't see any other lots that are particularly smaller than any others. Because the 8,001 square feet meets the minimum lot requirements for the city, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And it looks like all the dimensions are good. I guess I should go back into my public hearing sequence here.
I only see 65 plots. Am I missing the 66th?
There's one remainder lot on the north side that makes it 66. That's on
Lot
the north
66.
side of, north side of the BPA lines.
Barry, any concerns? I think we talked about this last meeting, but what is the designation of Failer Road? There's no issues with the lots being having frontage on Failer. I didn't know what the classification of that road is.
It's single family residential, and the classification is this could change it to a minor collector, but it's basically as it stands right now, just a local street.
Okay.
And basically from Mount Hood all the way to the end was just repaved in 2018.
Yeah. My last question would be, I see Chaparral Phase, well, up on the north end, that lot 66. Is the developer planning on putting some green space in there? Are we getting into some ordinance issues with making sure at full build out, this development includes some green space? Or is that not something that this development would trigger in the ordinance, Barry?
If they're going with 66, in the Boardman comprehensive plan, there is a requirement for 0.015 of an acre to be devoted to green space. 0.015 is basically 654 square feet. That would be somewhere around an acre. And do you know what the acreage is on that, Ron?
No, I don't have that off the top of my head, Barry, but all of that property for 66 lies underneath the BPA power line. So it's technically non-buildable.
But green space would be allowed as long as
That's
it's not
correct.
over 12 feet. But
That's
that's over an
correct.
acre. And so that's the space where the green space can go.
Okay. I think that might be I mean, I guess see what the other commissioners think, but that could be a condition of approval is lot 66 would be set aside for compliance with the green space rules in the ordinance.
Question, would
Yeah.
this sorry, would a hearing notice have to be sent or mailed again to the residents closer to those
Mhm.
other lots?
It would change the notice requirements. So we may have to table this and do it, bring it back to next month's meeting.
Ron, are they in a big hurry or is that something that isn't going to bother this development?
Yeah, I'm finding out now. Gary was gonna be on, but I'm calling him and I'll kind of give you a heads up.
I guess if it's something that's unavoidable, we're gonna have to notify anyways. I was just trying to help them on timeline, Barry.
Are you meaning that we proceed with tonight on the ones we're going to look at and then come back and do the remainder next time after notice on those? Is that what you were thinking?
Potentially, yeah, we could recess this public hearing until public notice has been filed for all affected users over the entire 65 or 66 parcels rather than the 28. And reopen the public hearing with those notifications done for next month, unless Barry or Jackie can correct me. I think we can recess for additional public comment, correct?
We
I
may
think
yes,
want
we should do this
to,
anyway.
The if we notice tomorrow, we could have it as soon as the 14th, which would be the second Wednesday of next month.
Okay.
If we notice by the end of the week, it's hard to get it in the paper. If they wouldn't have it until Friday. That's when they do their Saturday paper, so they may not have room.
So Gary Mon
The
thought
14th.
the intention was for all 66 lots as well, and if it needs to be continued till next month, then he's fine with that as well.
I guess we don't need to waste any more time. I think that's the best route to go to be in compliance with all notification requirements. Do I need, I probably need to, is there a motion to recess until, Barry, did you say I could set the next meeting for April
Either
14th?
either April 14th or April 21st, which would be your regular meeting.
Well, it doesn't
We
sound
can
like
get
there's
it
a huge
forward.
rush, so we could just go at the 21st unless there's a concern from Ron.
No concern.
So are we recessing or tabling this? I mean, I'll move to do whichever. Or we move to
Yeah.
table?
Yeah, so we need a motion and a second to recess this public hearing for Chaparral Park until our next regular scheduled planning commission meeting for April 21st.
Okay, I'll recess for Chaparral Park Phase 2 until to be discussed at the April 21st meeting.
All right, was that a motion?
Yeah,
All right, I'll second that motion.
it was a poorly worded motion, but yes.
Yeah.
So we have a motion by Ragna to recess the current hearing for the Chaparral Parks Phase 2 application until our next regular scheduled meeting at 7:00 PM on the 21st of April. The second, that motion was seconded by Zach. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hearing is recessed. Sorry, Ron. Thanks for coming, though.
Hey, thanks, guys. That, I could have stayed out fishing a little longer, but that's okay.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
see you next month.
Sounds good. So I'm gonna go into the next application now. Keep the movie, the show rolling. We have another type 3 hearing for the Tuscany Phase 3 project. So let me drop back down here. So at this time, I'll go ahead and commence the public hearing. The purpose of the public hearing, as stated, is the application for Tuscany Phase 3, which is lot 33 and 34, which is a proposed 51 lots, single family detached residential units. This is a preliminary plat application. I think do all the commissioners know where Tuscany is? I think there is a map included in the application. Again, I'll skip the summarization of the rules. Do we have any abstentions?
Nope.
Any objections to jurisdiction?
Nope.
Barry, do you want to take us through the staff report?
Okay. On February 11th of 2021, Boardman Development LLC submitted a preliminary plat for Tuscany at Boardman Phase 3 subdivision. Phase 3 would consist of 51 new lots on 15.7 acres. These 51 lots will complete the Tuscany subdivision when completed. The drawing submitted for grading, water, sewer, and street plans. The design is the same as the first 2 phases in layout. Phase 3 will add 1 knuckle turn and 1 11-lot cul-de-sac. And the rest of the additional streets connect with existing Tatone and the existing Sage Street at completion. Or at completion, the Tuscany at Boardman subdivision and the Juniper Ridge subdivision will have connecting streets from South Main to Juniper Drive without using Wilson Road as the access. The subdivision will be located on 2 different tax lots. Tax lot number 400 of map 4N 25E 16CB and tax lot 5000 of 4N 25 East 17DA. Tax lot 400 is 9.87 acres in size, and tax lot 5000 is 5.8 acres in size, totaling 15.71 acres. 3 maps are attached to show the tax lot locations and surrounding areas. Also attached are the 19 sheets of drawings reviewed, including rights of way, water, sewer, fire hydrants, sidewalk, and ADA ramp locations. I put the approval criteria in this one for council to look at. I'm actually gonna have to put general approval. The city may approve with conditions or deny a preliminary plat based on the following approval criteria. The proposed preliminary plat complies with all of the applicable development code sections and applicable ordinances and regulations. At a minimum, the provisions of this chapter and applicable sections of Chapter 2.0 land use districts and Chapter 3.0 design standards shall apply. Where the variance is necessary to receive preliminary plat approval, the application shall also comply with relevant sections of Chapter 5. The proposed plat name is not already recorded for another subdivision and satisfies the provisions of ORS Chapter 92. City of Boardman Development Code, page 4.3.6, City of Boardman, June 2014, 4.3.140, and approval criteria for the preliminary plat. Roads, streets, bicycle lanes, pathways, utilities, surface water management facilities are also laid out as to conform or transition with the plats to the plats of subdivisions and maps of major partitions already approved for adjoining property as to width, general direction, and all other respects. It does that as well. All proposed private common areas and improvements, homeowner association of property are identified in preliminary plat. Block and lot standards, all proposed blocks, one or more lots bound by public streets, lots, parcels conform to specific requirements below. All lots shall comply with the lot area setback and dimensional requirements of the applicable use and the standards of Chapter 3.1.200, street connectivity and formation of blocks. Setback shall be required by the applicable land use. Each lot shall conform to the standards of Chapter 3.1, access and circulation. Landscaping is also in there. It'll be in conformance with Uniform Fire Code of 20-foot width minimum. And the fire department now with the ladder truck actually looks at a 26 minimum for being able to use the ladder truck. But the street would be able to handle the street width would be able to handle the ladder truck. When common drive is to be provided to serve more than one lot, a reciprocal easement would be required and maintenance rights shall be recorded. In everything that has been done in phase 1 and phase 2, there have been no shared accesses. So that's it's not going to affect this decision. Excuse me. The city may attach such conditions as are necessary to carry out provisions of this code and other applicable ordinances and regulations, and may require reserve strips to be granted for the city or to the city for the purpose of controlling access to adjoining undeveloped properties. The undeveloped properties that are to the south are actually not in the city limits, and they are owned by Dan McCarty and are currently under circles. Last year they were mint. Findings: public notice for Tuscany at Boardman Phase 3 was published and posted on February 23rd, 2021, 23 days prior to the Planning Commission hearing. Public notice was mailed to adjoining properties within 250 feet of the subject properties on February 23rd, 2021. No comments have been received concerning this application. The drawings for phase 3 of Tuscany Boardman meet the criteria above from Boardman Development Code Chapter 44.3. Significant earthwork is going to be required in phase 3 to meet the submitted grading plans. Summary and conclusions, phase 3 at Boardman appears to meet all the relevant criteria for approval of this phase to begin construction of the subdivision after filing a final plat. Any questions?
No, I'm good.
Any concerns, Barry, with, and I think, yeah, I can ask you questions now. I was just looking at some of the profiles of the roads. Is that an 8.2% grade on one of the roads inside the division? Is there any concern on the city's behalf on that?
As long as they provide the stormwater management that they have been, the slope of the streets, it's not going to just sheet drain to one spot. It's going to be able to go to the swale between the sidewalk and the edge of the pavement.
Okay.
And it's been working so far.
All right. Yeah, it just seemed.
Like I said, there's going to be significant, I think they're going to end up hauling some more dirt in.
Yeah.
Because that back corner, that southeast corner is pretty low on that cul-de-sac.
Any questions for Barry?
I'm okay, thank you.
The only
Under-
last question I had was, I think I brought it up last meeting when we talked about this briefly. But the future road shown on the south side of the property, is that optimal for, future planning needs? If not, and that southern property someday turns into more housing at some future annexation and property acquisition date, is that future road removable? Because it looks to me like you'd want to put the backs of housing lots in the location of that future road rather than the future road, and the future road being down another set of lots in McCarty's property at some future time. Does that make sense? Or I noticed that future road for part of this is included on the east side and not included on the west side. So it puzzled me.
Actually on the west side, through Juniper Ridge subdivision,
Mhm.
this would give us a 30-foot to be shared with McCarty's property at the time McCarty's ever becomes lots, would be a 30-foot and 30-foot for a 60-foot right of way. And we'd have it from Main Street all the way to the property owned by the LDS church. And
Okay.
if it goes through on that tangent, the property that sits on the corner of Paul Smith and West Main Street, or not Main Street, West Wilson Road, we'll put it, did it go right along the edge of Desert Springs, Bay Vista, and that property, which is basically 3 lots right now that are in the county, they'd have to be annexed. But that'd give a kind of a macro road grid that would go all the way through to Failer Road, or Paul Smith Road, I mean.
Mhm. Okay.
That's in our connectivity map.
Yeah, just looking at it from 1,000-foot level, it seems like you could almost fit another row of houses before you built that next road. And it'd be more efficient to where the road would have frontage on both sides rather than just one side.
Yeah, but I can't plan the counties.
Okay.
And right at the edge of that future road is where the county, that's county jurisdiction. It's city as it gets further to the west.
Okay, proponent's case. Is there anybody on that'd like to say a few words for the development? I thought maybe we'd have somebody on here from the engineers and Meridian, maybe not.
I do know they are for it because they're kind of pressuring to get it done.
So you're saying on that map that you're showing, Barry, that the reason they've got half the road drawn in there on the east side of this application and not the west side is because of city boundary?
You I don't think you're seeing, Jackie, I think it's either 25 or 26. I'm gonna have her put up the map that shows where it ties in with Juniper Ridge. See the future road all the way across the bottom on that?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same alignment as what we're talking with the future road here. And that goes all the way over to Juniper. And to the west of that would be the LDS property.
And that all makes sense. What I'm saying is right in the middle of the application, you've got a section line between section 17 and 16. It's on the east side
Yes.
of the yellow shaded property in the map she's showing. On the east side, it's showing half of this future road being part of this subdivision. So it's going to lock that into a future road right of way. But the western half is not. That future road is completely outside of the proposed jurisdiction, which is probably preferable because it gives you in the future for developing that road the most flexibility if that road moves a little bit. But as drawn, the eastern half is going to, from the plans, I'm looking at the first sheet C1.100. You've got the right half in section 16, the left half in section 17, and the east half has half the road as part of this application, but not the western half.
Yeah, but that's existing tax lot. It's going to be dedicated as part of the process of the subdivision. Because the dotted line, that vertical dotted line,
Okay.
that's where 16 and 17 are different.
Yes.
16 on the right side, 17 on the left side. But once it gets over to, because the property on tax lot 5,000 was originally part of Hayden Homes. And Mons went and got that property, and that's how they've worked to get all of these streets connected. Because on the tax lot map for number 400, which is the east side, that map's not going to show it either. I think that's 24, Jackie.
Okay, so in their plans on the
See-
cover. Okay. So what you're saying is the future road is already part of an existing partition on the west side of that section line.
On the Juniper Ridge subdivision.
Okay,
They were dedicating in phases. They got to phase 3 and that's as far as they went.
okay. All right. No more questions for me. Any opponents? You know, actually, I think we've had a question in the chat. Well, I'm gonna wait until well, I guess we could do it now. What, if any, is planned for parks in that area? So I guess this is back to the green area discussion, Barry.
They are on Lucas Street. There is a pathway that goes through. You'll be able to get by sidewalk to that pathway that goes right directly to the schools. And we've got the green space at the schools.
Is that
The way
public
that-
property, or are they gonna have a locked gate at night and on weekends?
They've been using it as public property, you know, for the soccer, youth soccer leagues and things like that for quite some time. I haven't had a chat with the director for the school district as to whether they generally don't lock it up. And they've got the play equipment and stuff. What it says there's 2 options. And I threw it out because this is discussions that we're gonna need to take into account. It says that you either build the park or you come up with a payment that allows for a park fund to be built. On this one, I did the math on it. It would be about 33,000 square feet on 51 lots at the rate. So how much is that worth? That's about 3/4 of an acre. It'd take 3 lots out of their subdivision. And at today's prices I talked with a couple of realtors on this, and 8,000 square foot lot in with all the utilities to service, that's about $55,000.
Per lot.
And you usually, for a lot.
Okay.
And you usually get around 4 lots. So this is gonna be about 3/4 of an acre that you take away.
Is it okay if I ask a question right now?
A question for Barry or a question for the rest of the commissioners?
Barry, I have a question. So if there is no park planned or included in these plans, and they're assuming that because there are schools there and they don't seem to be locked up, that they don't need to put parks in. I'm just thinking with an increase in traffic and obviously population increasing, could the school district ever start locking their property, and then that not make it, available for, I guess, the park use? So before passing this, would we have to see plans for a park in this, or? I'm just
If,
confused.
if you were to condition it to, that they have to put in a park, they'd have to redraw and figure out where they were going to put that park.
And you said that you haven't spoken to the superintendent from Morrow County. So after discussing it with him and kind of getting his, yeah, go ahead, use school property for a park, I mean, if we get that approval, is it necessary to still include these plans, or would it be best if we just ask them to include a park in these plans?
I don't know the answer to that question. That's I know how it was submitted was without the comprehensive plan criteria. But it's been done that way around on planning as using the school. And we need to have it put in our development code, so it becomes part of what it is that the developer is going to see. Most of them don't go look at the comprehensive plan.
This is their phase 3? Tuscany phase 3?
Yes,
So in
Yes.
phase 1 and 2, did they put parks in, or did they just use school or whatever?
they use the school.
They used the school. So
We experimented with little pocket parks. One of them was when we did the realignment of Main Street to go over the railroad tracks on the new bridge. There's a little pocket park that sits on the west side where the old street used to be, and the old bridge used to be. And the kids from those apartments use those quite a bit as places to play. And that's not even close. I doubt if that's much more than 13 or 14,000 square feet.
I guess that's my only concern is, eventually when, obviously population is going to increase and the school district, locks these gates and does not make it accessible to the public. I'm just wondering if the opportunity for a park is going to be missed if we don't include it in this. And I guess, yeah, that's just my only concern.
All right, I think we can definitely continue this on once we get into the deliberation by the commission. I didn't hear any opponent's case. I guess we can keep moving unless anybody else has any more questions for Barry. I don't hear any. We didn't have any proponents or opponents, so we can skip cross-examination. Do we have any comments from public agencies, Barry, or the fire departments on the call?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So at this time, I'm gonna go ahead. We don't need to go through the rebuttal evidence section. At this time, I'd like to close the public hearing and we can begin deliberation by the commission. So it sounds like everybody's okay with the general layout, but there is some concerns with providing a publicly accessible green space that would not be impeded by a future role change at a school district or something of that nature. Anybody have any further comments on that? Personally, I've been over through the existing Rome Street a lot, and I can tell you there is a lot of kids out on the road playing all the time. It seems like each house has about 10 kids in it. And I think they've got there's always a lot of toys out in the middle of the road and basketball hoops set up in the road. So, I mean, allocating, their first two applications, or their first application of the first Rome Street, it wasn't a requirement because they could always add park in the subsequent phases of the remaining property that they currently own. But now we're out of property on their division. So this is, like Barry said, to the south is outside of city limits and owned by a private farmer, which is probably a long ways away from parting with property. So really, if we're going to implement some type of a green space requirement as part of this development, now's the time. Any comments on that, or?
Well, I guess that's how you kind of get around with saying, yeah, you need to add it into this one because there isn't another phase coming down the pipe.
Yeah. So in the past, the experience has been, this has always been kind of a sticking point, and the commission has always seemed like it found a way around, kind of kicking the can down the road to the next phase or something. Like there was over on the east side of Maine that we have the same situation, or just like the one we started talking about tonight with the 66 lot underneath the power lines. Now that's a good use for that space. And it also, adheres to the comprehensive plan. On this one, we don't have that. It's difficult because we don't have that opportunity to utilize a space that's developable like that. So it's kind of a tougher decision, but at the same time, my personal opinion is we definitely need to continue to encourage green space development for the kids, and not just kids, but I mean, older kids or even adults on the weekends and all kinds of stuff. And if this public, if the school space gets overutilized or or abused or something of that nature, they could easily close that down to public use, and that wouldn't be good. Especially because the divisions to the west of this site, the current, let me pull them up here. We got, Barry was, I went to the wrong page, but the Juniper Street, and the one to the east of that, Anthony Drive, there's not really any green spaces there. So we're getting to a point where it's probably going to be kind of needed to keep the kids from crossing main roads, because the closest park, what is the closest park, Barry? Is it really the closest public park would be the one down beside the city hall, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And the equipment and the space is utilized on a regular basis now that kids can get back out and go places.
Yeah.
There's somebody playing on the swings or on the grass or on the monkey bars and slides, and There's one particularly disgusting drum that I hear all the time.
Well, personally, I'd fully support the implementation of requiring a green space, whether or not it's a full 33,000 square feet, or if we can size accordingly or something of that nature, I'd fully support it. I don't know what everybody else's opinion is on it.
We tried doing the same thing over in Sunridge Terrace. Just taking a lot and making a pocket park. And it didn't work out there. And
What does
really,
that
this
mean?
is-
It didn't work out there? They wouldn't do it, or no one
They-
used the pocket
nobody
park?
was going to it.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have a
This
whole
is,
bunch of, we
this is
didn't
Karen.
have a whole lot of, oh, go ahead.
Okay, this is Karen. I want to chip in on this park conversation because I agree that we need to start making parks. And the one over on Dune Street in Anderson is a poor example of a park. Because I will agree that we water it and mow it. But we put used playground equipment in there in the beginning and put it down at the end of a street where it's very hard if you wanted to watch your kids play. I mean, you have to make a point to go down there. So I think most people consider a park where you have open space around it. And yeah, I don't think you should use Dune Street Park as an example of a park. So, and I agree. I think that we can't put off forever having space for parks on the south side of town. So that's what I have to say.
I'm also for more green spaces, and especially in such a nice neighborhood. Definitely want a park that will mirror, those homes. So I think we take advantage of this and request that they include it in the plans.
I think we heard from Ragna, we heard from Carla. What about Zach? Is Zach still on, or did he leave?
Zach is not here. I need to call him before we do a vote. Let me find out what happened to him. Maybe he lost his internet.
I didn't notice him leave either. I don't know how long he's been
Yeah.
gone for.
I'm gonna call him. I went to his voicemail. I don't know that we can take a vote without a quorum.
Well, yeah, no, we can't. We did have one
No.
commissioner resign, so we've only got 6
Oh, wait,
commissioners. but-
somebody's coming back. Somebody's coming in. Oh, it's that phone number coming back in the room.
Hello,
We can hear you.
my name is Taylor Merrill. I'm with the West Park Company. They're the developer, the applicant of
Okay.
Tuscany. Okay. And we actually agree with you and have no problem sliding a little park in there somewhere. Let it be, if we can kind of continue the process. Barry, I don't know if we need to go into if this needs to go to city council or not. I heard Karen talk a little bit, and out of respect for kind of the opportunity that you guys have given us, we feel that we'd love to put a little simple park in there somewhere if we can continue the process. And like you say, Barry, just take it a lot or figure a soft corner, but we'd rather not redesign or redraw. That's expensive. But if we kind of continue and figure out a park, we're glad to participate. We support your discussion. We support the kids. This is a family area and open space is important. And I completely agree with your discussion. And I wanted you to let you know that. Or I know Greg and Gary, the principals, I'll speak for them. But as the applicant, we understand what you're saying and realize the importance, the significance of open space or parks in these little subdivisions.
I appreciate that. But it looks to me like we lost a commissioner somehow, and now we don't have a quorum to take a roll call vote here. So I don't know what our solution is, Barry.
Well, without a quorum, we're gonna have to wait to take a vote or at a different point. Unless Zach calls back in.
I did just leave him a phone message asking him to log back in. We can continue the hearing without having to re-advertise, as long as we say what date we're going to continue it to.
Well, we could, instead of continuing, let me think here. Actually, if we continue, we don't have to set a date. If we recess, we have to set a date. So if we continue the hearing,
Okay.
we can, we could actually set up a special meeting in the coming week, right, Barry? I mean, we could set up a time and
As soon as next week.
soon as possible, it would be nice.
Yeah, because we've closed our hearing.
The hearing's been closed, so
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
well, we can call for a special meeting on the 24th if we can get the people to come.
Well, that's the key thing is we need to send out an email and tell everybody we've literally got to get on as a special meeting and make a 5-minute discussion and a vote. And whether we need to set up a different time or to accommodate other commissioner schedules or whatever we need to do, we can do. But so what do we need? We need 4 on because we had 1
Yeah.
commissioner resign, right? So all we need is 4 as a quorum for 6.
Yes.
4 is a quorum
Yes.
and with 6 people until we get the 7th seat filled. And then we may be able to have Adam be able to attend.
Or Michelle. I don't know why she couldn't be on. She
Or
sent me a
Michelle.
text before the meeting and said she wasn't going to be on. But I think we could at least send out an email, maybe Jackie or Barry, and say, hey, what time works for everybody? Do we need to do this at noon? Do we need to do it at 5 o'clock? What time do we need to do it? So we can get 4 people on and make them commit and then just set up the meeting and do it. Because, yeah, it's frustrating.
So do we need something more in writing or from the developer? Or are we just good with the verbal?
What we'll do,
I-
Ragnar, is once we have a quorum, we
Right,
will make a motion. And it sounds like we'll make a motion to approve with a condition to include green space as part of the development. And I think that's as easy as it is.
yeah,
And we
I
can
do
let
too.
Site team and Barry help drive the decision of where that would go. We could
That's all I
also-
was asking whether you wanted something from them before that meeting, before we would take the vote, since we have to postpone it anyway. But yes, I think just with a motion that we're fine.
Yeah, we can just make it as a condition of
Yeah.
approval. And let the developer and Barry drive that discussion and where it's most reasonable for the developer and and most reasonable for the city. And I assume on a public park like that, it's somehow dedicated to the public for public
Yep.
use.
Yeah,
and the
it'd
city
be
would take
dedicated in the
ownership.
final, it would be dedicated in the final plat.
Okay, so those are all things we'd have to have in that condition. And then the only other thing is the 33,000 square feet. Is that something we need to, hold hard on, or is that something we can say, okay, you know what? We can reduce that down to 10,000 square feet or what, whatever makes sense.
There's a couple of lots in there that are upwards of 12,000 square feet. And if they've got a lot next to them that's only 8, then you're close to a half an acre.
Okay. So I think that's all the discussions we're gonna have to have once we have a quorum. I don't even know, my only concern here is, so without a quorum, all of a sudden mid-meeting, I don't even know if I can make a motion to continue.
Yeah.
I'm assuming we
Yeah.
can. You tell me, Barry.
Yeah, I think that we if you're continuing because we lost a quorum, we'll you'll have to call another meeting, so.
Because of COVID-19, we lost a quorum in video chat. And well, we can get away with anything as long as we say it's COVID-19 related. So
That's right.
This
I've
is
heard
Karen,
weird-
because I don't know how to raise my hand.
your hand
I
is
just
raised.
see that, good. I see Casey Zeller just said that he was going to text Adam.
Uh,
And so if Adam could come on, if we could wait just a second, and if Adam comes on, you'd have your quorum again.
I wonder if was he working tonight? Is that the reason he couldn't make it?
He
And
didn't
I
say.
see that the phone number, that the guy with the phone number, he keeps turning green like he wants to talk and we never let him. I don't know if he is or not, but anyway.
Meaning me?
Yes, you.
I'm the guy with the phone number. I'm Taylor again, for the record. No, and I support your
Yes.
conversation. If we continue the process, I'd like that you suggest that we work it out with Barry. We've got a good relationship with staff there. And I'd appreciate if you wouldn't dictate size as much as how it works in the best interest of the community and everybody else. We agree with what you're, I said the discussion of green space. But if we don't have to redo drawings per se and can alter a couple of lots in an adjustment here, Barry, whether that's however works, but I'd like to just hope that we could continue this based on us providing some open space that's agreeable to staff and continue our process and get to construction of this hopefully this summer. So that's my green light, Karen.
Okay, got it.
Thank you.
I sent a message to Zach and Adam as well. I've got nothing.
It says, unfortunately, Adam is teaching a class tonight and he didn't answer. So Adam is out. I'd already left a message for Zach. I think all you'll need is a consensus to recess this to the next meeting. And I'd be happy to poll the commissioners and see when they'd like to do it.
Okay, well, I think that's all we can do. We can't sit here all night and wait for them. And what we'll do is in benefit for Taylor is we won't wait until the next commission meeting. We'll set up a special meeting as soon as possible, preferably in the next week, and get this thing addressed and get our commissioners on the line.
Thank you.
Okay. So is there a consensus to continue the meeting? I'm gonna say continue because we don't have an exact day or time set. I won't call for a motion or a vote, but is there a consensus to do that with the commissioners? Ragnar, Carla?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay,
Continue away.
okay, I guess we're continued.
All right, well, good night.
All right, at this time, I'll go ahead and call, well, let me look real quick at the agenda, make sure I'm not. I don't think there's any discussion items, is there, Barry?
No, I just wanted to point out, we got the letter from Cynthia and I put that in the packet, see. And she was just getting too busy with other things, so we'll have to start if you know any other people that would be interested in serving, let me know.
Okay, we'll go ahead and adjourn, and now the meeting's adjourned. I just have a couple items to ask you on a personal level. It seems like commissioners not showing up is a pretty traditional thing.